Hello, everyone. Welcome this evening to the Board of Education Trustee Candidate Forum. I'm happy to see everyone here. I'm hoping that there are a lot of people tuning in at home. This is a very important evening, as we know. Our candidates, I want to thank all three of you for running for these two important positions. It's a testament to this community that we have people like you who want to step up and take on these really important roles. The way that the forum is set up is that we crowdsourced questions in advance from the community so that they had a chance to let the candidates know what they're interested in hearing tonight so that we can get to know all three of you a little better. There won't be any time for questions from the audience tonight. They will all be the questions that that we have confidentially sent over to the League of Women Voters. They went to a confidential inbox. And tonight, as you know, this will be recorded so that those who could not either be here in person or watch online will still be able to watch the recording afterwards. So I encourage everyone who is here or who is watching at home to please encourage your neighbors and your friends to tune in. It's very important, this election. It determines the future of our school community. So I want to tell everybody to please make sure your calendar is marked for May 20th for the actual election and the budget vote. And with that, I want to just quickly thank Gary Miller for being here to record the session and live stream it. I want to thank Robin Dunn for also helping to create, to put this event together, and Lihia Sachivi, the secretary of the PTA, who is our timekeeper this evening. And the last thing I want to say is I just want to introduce our moderator from the League of Women Voters, John Hessel. John.
Good evening, everyone. Okay, so this candidate forum features the candidates for the Tuckahoe Board of Education. We have 3 candidates running for 2 seats. The order of speaking was done by lottery prior to the forum. Each candidate has 1 minute to make an opening statement, followed by questions for the candidates and a 1-minute closing statement. The questions, as Susan said, were solicited from the community. Each question, you have 1.5 minutes to respond. During the forum, each candidate will have 2 30-second rebuttals to be used during the question period only. You cannot use a rebuttal during opening and closing statements. Our timekeeper will hold up a warning sign when there are 30 seconds of time remaining and a stop sign when it's time to stop. Silence all your cell phones, please. Okay, no applause during the forum. Just wait till the end. Okay, we don't want to interrupt any of the candidates when they're speaking. After the forum, there'll be time to chat with your candidates. They all agreed to hang around for a little bit. There's no videotaping of the event. We're going to have it recorded here, live streamed. It's going to be on Verizon Channel 27, Optimum Channel 77, and on the Tuckahoe Schools YouTube channel. Okay, if you can't hear any of the candidates, just raise your hand and I'll tell them to speak up, okay? So the 3 candidates are Louis Campagna, Joel Abrams, and Seth Mirren. Okay, are you ready for the first opening statement? You get the first statement, Louis.
Good evening to the League of Women Voters and my fellow members of the Tuckahoe School District. My name is Louis Campagna, and I'm honored to be here this evening running for the Board of Education. I'm a lifelong Tuckahoe resident, part of a 6th-generation legacy that began here back in 1925. I'm a proud graduate of Tuckahoe Schools, where I learned the values of teamwork, leadership, and community pride. I also brought back the first varsity baseball state championship as a captain of the team back in 2002. My wife, Alexandra, is a dedicated art teacher, and our 2 children, Chloe in 5th grade and Matthew, a 1st grader in the special needs program, are thriving thanks to the support of our district's incredible educators. Our family has students enrolled in Tuckahoe schools for 37 consecutive years, with another 20 ahead. Professionally, I'm a licensed architect with 25 years of experience and a local business owner with a license in New York and Connecticut. I served on the Eastchester Planning Board to help uphold responsible development, safeguard public health. Really?
Okay, that was quick. Okay, thank you very much. So, Joel, you're ready?
Yes, good evening. My name is Joel Abrams, and I'm honored to be here tonight. Thank you to the PTA, the school community, and the League of Women Voters for hosting this forum. I'm a proud 1966 graduate of the Tuckahoe High School, and my wife Alexia, our son Christopher, and I have long called the community home. For 16 years, I've worked as a dedicated school safety professional to ensure the safety of our students and staff, and currently serve on our Building Safety Committee. As CSEA Union President, I represented our staff in negotiations with multiple boards of education and 6 different superintendents, gaining extensive experience in educational leadership, law, and policy. I've been deeply involved in our schools as a senior class advisor, supporter of all events, and advocate for students and families. I bring not only commitment, but also a deep historical knowledge of our district, which I'm eager to use to help support our new administrators. Every decision I make, driven by what's best for our students' future. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Seth, you have 1 minute.
Hi, my name's Seth Meara, and I'm running for the board to continue the progress we've seen in our district. Next year is an incredibly important one for Tuckahoe schools with leadership transitions and drafting of our next strategic plan. And I believe that my experience uniquely positions me to provide the stability and consensus building required to move our district forward. At my core, I'm an educator and bring more than 2 decades of experience in education. I began my career as a teacher, and if elected, I'd be the only person serving on the board with classroom teaching experience, a critical perspective given the priorities ahead of us. Since then, I've held a series of senior leadership roles at multi-million-dollar nonprofits overseeing finance, HR, and risk management. And I've been involved in our district as a parent to 2 Cottle students, serving on the district's finance committee for the past 3 years and advocating for improvements to the UPK program. If elected, I'd prioritize 3 things. Number 1, stability in our district leadership. Number 2, student retention, with a focus particularly on our middle schools. And number 3, meeting the needs of all learners, including students in our special education programs. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so the first question is going to go to you, Joel, and the same question is for everyone, okay? Why do you want to run for the Board of Education, and what unique skills do you have to qualify for a board seat?
I'm running for the school board because I care deeply about our students, schools, and community, and I know I can make a real impact. With over 16 years of hands-on experience in Tuckahoe schools, as a security officer, CSEA president, senior class advisor, and safety committee member, I have a daily working understanding of what supports student success. I'm also a proud Tuckahoe alum and lifelong Bronxville Manor resident, so I know the values and priorities of the community firsthand. I'm especially passionate about ensuring a full continuum of special education services, expanding world language offerings, and securing more BOCES occupational ed seats. I also support stronger college and career readiness programs and bring a deep experience in school safety. As a small business owner, I understand the importance of transparency and responsible spending. I believe in using data to guide decisions. We shouldn't automatically renew programs without clear evidence of their impact. I offer a unique combination of institutional insight, community connection, and fiscal perspective. I'm ready to be a thoughtful, balanced voice in every student and every family in Tuckahoe. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Seth?
Thanks. Could you just repeat the question one more time?
Sure. Why do you want to run for the Board of Education, and what unique skills do you have to qualify for a board seat?
Thanks. So as I said in my introduction, at my core, I am an educator, and my entire career has been animated by what do we do to make sure that all students have rigorous academic environments that support their academic growth, their social emotional growth, and I've dedicated my entire career to making sure that schools are that type of environment. And so at its core, what animates me is the students and families of this district and making sure that we continue to build on the progress that we've made. In particular, a couple things that I would highlight that I think I would bring to this role. First, as I said, my depth of experience in education and my experience as a teacher. So really understanding how do the decisions that the board make impact teachers, students, and all the families in our district from having been in a classroom and seeing it firsthand. But it's not only that, I bring a depth of finance, HR, and risk management experience, so the board is focused on what's best for students. The board is also focused on what's best for taxpayers, and how do we make decisions that are in the best interest of everybody living in this district.
Okay, thank you. Lewis.
So as a licensed architect running my own firm, I bring a strong foundation in project management, budgeting, strategic planning, and consensus building, all of which directly translate to the responsibilities of the Board of Education. Managing multi-million-dollar projects has trained me to balance ambitious goals with a strict financial discipline, a skill that's critical when overseeing a school's budget and setting policies that must serve both students and taxpayers. Through my services on the Tuckahoe Facilities Committee, the Eastchester Planning Board, and two-term president of the Gentry Tenants Corporation, I've worked collaboratively with diverse stakeholders, navigating complex decisions that impact the public. These experiences taught me how to make thoughtful investments, weigh long-term impacts, and prioritize transparency and accountability. Most importantly, those roles have reinforced a philosophy of leadership rooted in listening first, seeking common ground, and staying focused on outcomes that strengthen the community. I'm committed to bringing those same skills to the board to help guide policy, facilities planning, and financial stewardship in a way that supports every student community member. I want to focus on special needs, revamping the internship program for our juniors and seniors, safety and security, facilities, and I want to encourage the return of SEPTA to support our special education program. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so Seth, this question starts with you, then to Lewis, and then to Joel. What do you think are Tuckahoe's biggest strengths as a school district?
So first and foremost, I think that one of the things that the board and this district has really prioritized and that we should feel really proud of are improvements that we've made in literacy programming and really continuing to build up CODL. I think that the board and the district have really focused on curriculum and instruction, creating a real continuum of supports. And I think that what we have seen in CODL is real improvement specifically in literacy in terms of implementation of foundations, Orton Gillingham, et cetera. And so I think that what I am looking to see us do is to extend that into the middle school and continue to build on progress we've made at CODL. I also think that one of the things that our district should feel really proud of is that our board and administrators have prioritized the right balance between investing in our facilities and in what we need long-term in this district with also making decisions that are financially responsible. And so I think the work that the board has done with a couple of these bond and capital improvement programs, you know, CODL cafeteria, the turf field, and some of those improvements are really important. And I think it's important to kind of see that through the middle school, high school auditorium and CODL gym going forward.
Okay, thank you. Lewis, what do you think are Tuckahoe's biggest strengths as a school district?
So I value the board's past commitment to investing in facilities while maintaining fiscal responsibility. Projects like the CODL School cafeteria renovation show how strategic investments can enhance the student experience. I also appreciate the recent focus on academic achievement and look forward to building on that momentum. The sports program is also, it's been an incredible venture these past few years, and it has grown exponentially. One more recent achievement in policymaking is the new cell phone policy. I think that was a strong implementation by the board, and this is going to be instrumental for our SEL program and will strengthen classroom interaction and learning across the board. I think also, you know, our greatest strength is our close-knit community. Students, teachers, administrators, and families who truly care about one another. This is why I returned to Tuckahoe after college, and my wife and I had decided to raise our family here. If we harness the pride and continue adapting thoughtfully, there's nothing we can't accomplish together as a community. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now we're going back to the top. Just candidates, make sure you speak up loudly because the people in the back are having trouble hearing. Okay? So project. Okay, Louis, this question starts with you. What?
No, you didn't give me a chance to.
Oh, I'm sorry, Joel.
Yeah,
See, I had one job.
one show. You want to just repeat that? Just
Yeah,
real
sure.
quickly, please?
What do you think are Tuckahoe's biggest strengths as a school district?
Well, I'm going to really, we need a full, consistent continuum of our special education services, which has been very strong from K through 12, ensuring students get the support they need and stage an academic journey. This includes ensuring students are placed in the right programs. Currently, our professional development is limited to select staff, and I believe every employee should be trained effectively. Also, we need to be looking at early screening for our intervention, which we have not done before. We need dedicated specialists in grades K through 12, 3 to 5. We need a strong literacy. Strong early literacy helps the overload of referrals we often see in middle high school. We must also strengthen the efforts of the college career readiness and expanding BOCES and the CTE programs, especially the students pursuing trades and on pathways. Currently we offer BOCES, we only have 2 seats available, and that's not enough. Also want to see an increase in our opportunities as seniors, giving students more access to real-world experiences and prepare them for the graduation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Now we're back to the top. Okay, so Louis, this one's for you. What do you think are Tuckahoe's biggest areas for improvement?
So I think the Board of Education plays a critical role in setting the direction for our schools. And what we've been seeing recently is a turnover, which we find ourselves in a very unique situation right now with a number of administrators leaving. This turnover, it can extend itself into the faculty as well as for their students and student retention. So I think the board does a lot well, but I see opportunities for even greater collaboration and communication, especially between trustees, administration, and staff. I'd work to strengthen those bridges by encouraging more transparent dialogue, listening carefully to concerns, and making sure that community input translates into action at the board table. I also believe that retention of our administration and staff have become an immediate issue. I believe that proper communication can boost morale and enhance teacher and admin retention. Teachers also need to be heard and recognized for their excellence. Even periodical teacher, administrator, and board open forums can be a positive way for our teachers to express themselves to the board with full transparency. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Joel?
Yes, high rates of the administrative turnover are a concern for our district at this time. And as a prospective board member, I believe we need to focus more on strengthening our relationships with our administrative team. It's essential that we create opportunities for open communication with our administrators, not just through one voice or an individual, but across the board. This will help foster a more collaborative and supportive environment. This coming year, we will be in a key providing a support necessary to help our new administrators acclimate to the Tuckahoe community, and I believe having 3 alumni on the board, all with deep historical knowledge of our district, could be a major asset in offering guidance to these leaders. I also believe some of the administrators are overworked and underpaid, and their job descriptions are far beyond what's expected and are typical in other districts. I believe the restructuring of the middle high school a few years ago was a mishap, and we need to reevaluate how we structure our administrative team to ensure more support for our buildings, especially at the middle high school. Our goal should be to create an environment that attracts and retains top talent while ensuring that we meet the diverse needs of our students, parents, and teachers effectively.
Okay, thank you. Seth?
Thanks so much. I certainly agree with both of my fellow candidates that really prioritizing, as I said in my opening statement, stability and senior leadership for our district is a priority. I would also say in terms of particular opportunities for improvement, first I would agree, I think that our board has done a fantastic job, and I think they really should be commended for the work that they've done over the past 5 to 7 years, really continuing to build on improvements. A couple things that jump out to me as opportunities where we can continue to build on progress that has been made. First, as I mentioned, continuing to strengthen our middle school experience and the transition from Cottle to middle school. I think we've seen a lot of progress, as I said, in literacy in Cottle, and I think we have work to do to continue expanding that to our middle school, particularly for students who are coming in behind grade level, and how are we making sure that we're catching them up as quickly as possible. Second, I think we always have to continue focus on meeting the unique learning needs of all students. And so what are we doing to really take work around UDL that has been started and continuing to have that be sort of the animating feature of how we think about curriculum and instruction and professional learning. Third, I think math is an area where we can continue to do more in both elementary and middle school. And then finally, I think there's work we can do around internships for our seniors, as well as exposure to alternatives to college for our students, and really strengthening and making that a more rigorous program.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Joel, this one starts with you. The district needs to create a new strategic plan next year. What would your priorities be for that plan?
The district's current strategic plan ran from 2020 to 2024 and was built on 4 strong pillars: social emotional learning, diverse needs of learners, contemporary teaching, learning and professional learning. These have served us well, but now we're a year beyond the plan's timeline. First, a professional development. Our staff must be lifelong learners with regular opportunities to grow, lead, and receive training on how to engage in all types of learners. Second, we need a modernized technology plan. In 2013, our district received the Pioneer Award for its one-on-one Chromebook initiative, but that was 12 years ago. With rapid change in AI and digital learning, it's time to ask what's next. Third, we must strengthen the focus on college and career readiness. That means expanding CTE opportunities, BOCES programs, and our senior internship offerings, so all students have access to real-world experiences. And finally, we must build on the strong SEL foundation we've started, continuing to make student well-being and social and emotional development a district-wide priority. Our next strategic plan should reflect where we are today, and we want to go to a partnership with our community members, parents, teachers, staff, and student leaders to determine the next steps.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, Seth?
So first I want to start by saying I've already started this work in a number of learning conversations I've had in the run-up as part of this campaign. So I've spoken with a number of administrators and also a number of parents in the district to start to get a sense of what they think is needed and how that might inform the next strategic plan. And I say that because I think it's really important to come with vision and perspectives, but this has to be a collaborative effort where we really engage the full community and listen to all members of our community. In terms of things that I think are really important pillars for us as we continue moving forward, first, rigor and relationships. I think it's incredibly important that relationships with students are deep. We're a small district. Our teachers, our staff know our students, and that's so important. And it's critical as part of really building rigor, making sure that we have academically challenging environments for all students. So rigor and relationships, number one. Second, support for teachers and staff. I think professional learning, professional development continues to be important, and it's something that we really need to prioritize, making sure we support our teachers going forward. Third, engaging learning environments. So how do we make sure we have the most innovative teaching practices, increased extracurriculars, clubs, electives, and then finally, fiscal responsibility has to oversee all of this. We have to say, what are our strategic priorities? How do we have a budget that aligns to those priorities? And I've led strategic planning processes at other organizations, and so I'd be thrilled for the opportunity to continue those experiences here for the district.
Okay, thank you very much. And Louis.
Okay. So the district's current strategic plan, again adopted, it was 2021, built around 4 pillars, as Joel mentioned. I won't mention them again. I fully support this foundation, and we should certainly look at building on it. First, we should assess the data from our SEL initiatives to understand their impact. And if we see gaps, we can make targeted improvements. As we prepare students for success, I believe it's time to add a 5th pillar, college readiness and real-world experiences. This means increasing college exposure by inviting admissions teams into our schools, much like Bronxville and Eastchester, offering semesterly college readiness workshops for juniors and seniors, and revamping our senior internship program. I also believe we must approach technology as an ethical tool. That includes ongoing professional learning for our teachers, upgrading our infrastructure to support the Chromebook initiative and growing technologies, and responsibly integrating AI into classrooms with expert guidance. Lastly, we must continue to enhance professional learning, not just for teachers, but for all administration and staff. That includes promoting universal special needs training district-wide and increasing access to professional development opportunities across the board. So, internship programs, revamping the internship program, enhanced guidance for college and career readiness, expanding clubs, extracurricular, and like Seth mentioned, we have to do this all while being fiscally responsible, of course. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, and we're going to start this one with you, Seth. How do you feel about the forthcoming New York State ban on cell phones in schools, and why do you think it is necessary, or why not?
This is obviously an important topic. I battled it quite a bit when I was a teacher. In my classroom, I was constantly fighting for attention with my students who were pulling a cell phone out. I'm going to name this as a really complex issue with a bunch of different layers. So first, there's for parents who want to make sure that they can be in touch with their students, right? How do we do this in a responsible way where for parents who still need to get in touch with their students throughout the day, that they can do it? Second, I think it's really important that we also just make sure students are here to make the most of the time that they are in schools, and that when they are in classrooms, what they and their teachers are focused on is academic learning and building deep relationships with teachers, with staff, and with students. And so I think it's really important that we strike the right balance, both as a district and as a community, in teaching our students the right balance around responsible use of technology. And so I think that at a high level, the idea behind how do we make sure that students are in classrooms and focused on learning and the things that matter most is important. And I think in the details, we really need to work out how do we do that in a way that also values and honors the things that families need?
Okay, thank you very much. Louis, that's to you now.
Thanks. The state's new bell-to-bell cell phone ban is a positive step forward toward reducing distraction and improving student focus in classrooms across New York. And here in Tuckahoe, it has the potential to greatly benefit our students. Studies show that cell phones in class can obviously interfere with attention and academic performance. Removing that constant distraction helps students engage more deeply with their teachers, classmates, and the learning process in general. But safety must remain a top priority. That's why I will support a balanced implementation. Phones can be stored in a conspicuous but accessible location in each classroom. This ensures they are out of reach during instruction but quickly available in case of an emergency, whether it's a lockdown, evacuation, or a family issue. Ultimately, this policy supports stronger academic outcomes, better peer interaction, and safer, more structured learning environments, all while maintaining the preparedness in the event of an emergency. It's the kind of thoughtful balance that helps our students succeed both academically and emotionally. I think it'll certainly support our SEL initiative as well. Thank you.
Okay. Joel.
Yes, Governor Hochul's bell-to-bell cell ban will take effect in 25-26. The ban prohibits unsanctioned use of smartphones and internet-enabled devices during the entire school day, including class, lunch, and periods. Exemptions are in place for students requiring devices for medical reasons, as outlined in their individualized education program or translation purposes. Schools are tasked with developing their own plans for device storage and ensuring parents can contact their children during the day. While I understand the intent behind this ban, I believe student safety must come first. At the high school and upper grade levels, we must find practical ways for students to have phones for access for emergencies. This could include phones being kept in backpacks or accessible not in use during instructional time. Before making any direct level decisions, I support surveying parents to better understand the expectations during emergencies, the best ways to balance accessibility and safety, and concerns about communication with their children during the school day. Ensuring transparency and collaboration with families will help us build a thoughtful, student-centered policy. I also know that many teachers currently have little caddies in each of their classrooms.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Louis, this one is for you. How does a school board balance the need to provide a quality education with the need to manage the tax burden on local homeowners?
So this year's proposed school district budget, as many of you may know, is $44 million, which is a 5.33% increase from last year. The tax levy stands at 32.6, with a tax increase for the district at 2.57, which remains within the state mandated tax cap. Like most districts, Tuckahoe relies heavily on local tax revenue, which is 74% of the revenue in our budget. So fiscal responsibility is of utmost importance. The delta between the initial and final includes key investments such as hiring the reading interventionist for the elementary school. With only 60% of students reading at grade level, this is not just a smart investment, it's a necessity. Other highlights include expanding extracurriculars at Cottle, increasing security surveillance, and launching civics partnership to shape future leaders. As a board member, I believe our duty is to be responsible stewards, balancing student needs with financial realities of seniors and residents without children in the school. Moving forward, we should anticipate needs earlier in the budget cycle. That means beginning conversations with teachers and staff at the planning stages to see what they need to effectively run their classrooms and to avoid overspending later on. I'd also support exploring a dedicated athletics fund, especially as our programs grow and require expanded travel. And finally, I'd advocate for consultants to evaluate a 9-period Bell schedule, responsible AI integration, and space utilization
Thank you.
investments. Thank you.
Thank you. Joel?
I fully support this year's proposed $44 million budget, which reflects a 5.33% increase from last year. The board made a strategic choice to go near the tax cap, a decision I agree with, as it allowed us to add a much-needed reading teacher at the Cottle Elementary. As a board member, I take fiscal responsibility seriously. We represent all Tuckahoe residents, families with children, future district families, and longtime residents. The veterans tax exemption approved this year is a great example of supporting those who remain in our community long after their children graduate. Investing in our schools benefits everybody. Strong schools strengthen our community and protect property value. This year's budget includes a new AP cybersecurity course, expanded club offerings at Cottle, security upgrades, including a full-time role and also cameras. The addition of a reading teacher at Cottle, a new strength and conditioning coach to support our growing athletic program. Looking ahead, I'm still concerned that we haven't expanded BOCES seats. 2 spots are not enough for students pursuing skilled trades and non-college pathways. We must do more to close that gap. Lastly, I would like to see our world language program expanded into the 6th grade and the elementary school. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Seth?
Yeah, so I agree with both Louis and Joel. I'm fully in support of this year's budget. I think it does exactly what we're talking about, which is balancing strategic priorities with academic needs. It does those two things. And so the first thing that I think when you're thinking about how to do that juggle is you need a clear strategic plan. And so that's what our board has done, and that's what we're going to be charged with doing with community input again next year. And then we are a small district, so we don't have unlimited resources, and we have to make choices and trade-offs, and so you really have to align the budget to those strategic priorities. And again, things like a reading interventionist at Cottle, prioritizing safety and security, I think that the board has done that, and our budget does that. And as you align the budget to those priorities, we really need to continue to communicate with the community transparently about it. And so in serving on the Finance Committee, I know how much work has been done this year to really continue to improve how we transparently communicate about what's in the budget. It's on the website. There is a detailed budget book that goes line by line through revenue and expense sections saying what's in here, why did it go up or down, and how can you make sense of this year's budget. I think there's work we can do to continue to get the word out there. The last thing I'll say is I think that this district has really thoughtfully thought about building reserves and taking existing funds to support future needs. And so, for instance, the repair reserve in this year's budget, I think, is a really smart strategic decision.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to start this one with you, Joel. What is your long-term vision for enhancing our school's infrastructure?
Over the past few years, our district has made significant progress in improving our facilities, including expanded classroom space at Cottle, upgrades in the Cottle Field on Seminole Boulevard, cafeteria expansion, library renovations, and a new security vestibule. These are all critical investments for the future of our schools, and while every repair or upgrade comes with a cost, they're necessary to provide the best outcomes and experience for our students. That said, it's time to start planning for the future, especially in support of the music, arts, and athletic programs. At the middle and high school, we're desperate in need of acoustic upgrades, and I strongly support restoring our historic auditorium to its original size. This would be a major benefit to our talented music and arts students. Additionally, our gymnasiums are overdue for a modern facelift. These spaces are highly visible to both school and the wide community, and they should reflect the pride and excellence of our programs we run. These aren't overnight projects, but planning, budgeting, and prioritizing, we can ensure our facilities enhance the student experience rather than hold it back. Lastly, we should look at improving the exterior appearance of our schools with landscaping, planters, and other welcoming features. Curb appeal matters, and not just for student morale and retention, but also home values in our community.
Okay, thank you very much. Seth?
So I agree. I think that some of the decisions that have been made in the past have really gone a long way to improving what are aging facilities. I think in particular, some work around facilities upgrades through bond offerings. So Cottle cafeteria renovation, the turf field, upgrading fire alarm system, wireless access point improvements, and then also work that's in this year's budget around upgrading security here in the middle and high school. In talking to Faith Sparks, our business manager, my understanding is there's a 2008 bond that in a couple years is going to come off the books, the debt service costs for that, which I think debt service makes up 6 to 7% of our budget annually this year. And so I think that anybody who steps onto the board is going to have some really important conversations to be a part of around how do we strike the balance that we were just talking about between needed upgrades and giving some relief to taxpayers. And so I think it's something that we'll all have to continue to study, but that's the balance that we have to make. But I agree with what Joel said in that I think some particular places where there are opportunities for improvement, the middle and high school auditorium, we have an amazing theater program. We should have an equally amazing auditorium. And the Cottle gym, which is still fairly small and could use a facelift of its own.
Okay, thank you. Lewis?
As a member of the Facilities Committee and an architect by profession, I bring both firsthand experience and technical insight to the district's infrastructure planning. I remember how dark and uninspiring the old cafeteria was while having lunch with friends back in the 90s. I was fortunate to contribute to its renovation, and the use of natural daylighting has transformed it into a vibrant, student-friendly space that promotes wellness and spirit. Several important projects are already underway, including tunnel piping and asbestos abatement. This will occur as school lets out for the summer. Campus-wide camera installations to enhance security. We're going to be rebidding for the middle and high school HVAC upgrade and necessary brick and parapet repairs, and bathroom and elevator repairs at Cottle School. There's much more to do. The front steps and patios at the middle school and high school need replacement. Gym cafeteria repairs are ongoing due to water damage, and roof and drainage improvements are essential. Looking ahead, I'll be actively involved in developing the district's next 5 to 10 year capital plan. That includes revamping our tech closets to support new systems, consulting on space utilization to maximize our current footprint, refreshing overgrown landscaping, which has been there since I've been here, and restoring the historic high school auditorium, ensuring our arts program have a stage worthy of their excellence. We must also retrofit our elementary school gym with operable windows for proper ventilation. This is a serious issue. My goal is to ensure every facility project supports the health, safety, and success of our students.
Okay, thank you, Lewis. Thank you. Okay, we're going to start with you, Seth, on this one. Confidentiality is probably one of the most important skills needed to be on the board. How will you ensure confidential matters, especially those involving students, staff, or sensitive school issues, are handled appropriately and respectfully as a board member?
It's a great question. Throughout my career, that's what I've dealt with. When I started my time in my classroom, we got a lot of training about student confidential data, what can be shared, what needs to be kept securely. So just from a student and family perspective, obviously that's really important. Given the years that I have spent overseeing HR at multiple organizations, I understand how paramount confidentiality is, and I have deep experience balancing transparent communication with the need for confidentiality to maintain the dignity and the honesty of processes. And so I think it is obviously a really important thing that all board members need to do. It's something that I have deep experience in from my professional career as an HR professional. And I think in particular, it's really important that, you know, when the board goes into executive session, Those are things that stay in executive session. There's a reason that executive sessions exist, and that as a board, we figure out how to communicate with a united front what we can based on the balance between transparency and confidentiality and respect for everybody involved in the process.
Okay, thank you very much. Louis.
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. Confidentiality is probably one of the most important skills needed to be on the board. How will you ensure confidential matters, especially those involving students, staff, or sensitive school issues, are handled appropriately and respectfully as a board member?
Thank you. So as an architect, I have a myriad of clients, and the confidentiality is something that is with me throughout has been with me throughout my career. And I handle all clients in this matter, and this also must be applied to our district's families and our students. In terms of confidentiality and the board, I think it's extremely important that whatever is discussed behind, off the record, behind the scenes, must stay that way until it's ready to come out in either a policy or in some other matter. But yes, confidentiality is top-notch, what we need to keep in mind as board members. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Joel?
Sure. I believe transparency is essential in building trust between the school district and our community. I want to recognize the progress that's been made, especially in recent years, with clearer financial reporting, the creation of the budget book, and more in-depth presentation of our business manager. These are important steps in our right direction. I also appreciate the growing use of surveys, like the Student Climate Survey and the Superintendent Stakeholder Survey, which give the board valuable insight. I'd like to see this extended with the staff survey to hear directly from our teachers and employees about the state of the district. That said, there are areas where we can and must do better, specifically many documents related to board decisions, especially MOAs with financial impact, are not always posted to board docs. Out of 13 MOAs that I've identified over the past 2 school years, only 5 were attached publicly. That's not acceptable. Taxpayers shouldn't have to email the district clerk to find out how public funds are being used. Finally, our district website is not user-friendly. It needs to a full design. It should be clear, accessible tool for parents and staff and prospective families. Transparency is about communication, and we need to keep improving.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, back to the top. We only have a few more questions left. Louis, how will you make it easier for parents and stakeholders to express their questions and concerns, and how will you respond to them?
So student and parent voice are essential to a healthy, responsive school district. When we listen actively to those most impacted by our decisions, we build trust, increase engagement, and make better informed choices that reflect the true needs of our community. For students, giving them a voice means more than just surveys. It's about fostering regular, structured opportunities to share feedback, whether through student advisory panels, leadership forums, or open discussions with school leadership. When students feel heard, they feel valued, and that strengthens schools' culture and academic motivation. For parents, we should go beyond the standard PTA structure by offering forums focused on specific topics like curriculum changes, special education, or mental health, and by creating more accessible, transparent communication channels. Surveys, town halls, and roundtable discussions should happen regularly and at times that accommodate working families. As a board member, I'll push to institutionalize these opportunities so that students' and parents' voice are not just welcomed, but actively sought out and acted upon. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Joel?
Sure, as a school board candidate, I believe that parent and student voice is essential to a healthy, responsive school district. Our families and students deserve to feel heard, seen, and respected, and that starts with being visible and approachable. I make it a priority to show up at games, concerts, school events, and community meetings. These moments matter. They build trust and offer insight into what our students and families truly need. At the same time, as an elected representative, I understand the importance of maintaining professionalism and honoring the chain of command. It's not about overstepping roles. It's about listening carefully, following proper channels, and working collaboratively with administrators to bring concerns forward and seek solutions. I'm committed to representing our constituents, whether they have children in the schools, our future district parents, or longtime residents. Every voice counts. If elected, I will continue showing up, listening closely, and advocating thoughtfully to ensure our schools reflect the values and needs of our entire Tuckahoe community.
Okay, thank you. Seth?
So I think it's so important that we continue to figure out. I think that the board has done a lot, and the administrators have done a lot to improve communications, Coddle Weekly, the weekly happenings, and I certainly get the Coddle Weekly, so I think that the board has done a lot to try to build there, and I think there's work that can be done to more actively seek out perspectives. And so often I'm one of the only parents at school board meetings. I have young kids. It's hard to get there as a parent of young kids. Candidly, mine are furious I'm here tonight instead of with them putting them to bed. But I think we have to acknowledge the many things that working parents and working families have going on. And so not just how do we say come to us, but how do we come to you? And so I think that we can build on the progress that we've made to continue to be even more active and less passive. And so it includes things like, how are we as board members remaining engaged in our community, showing up, listening, asking questions of people, and really showing up to events and saying, tell me about your experience. It's been one of my favorite things over the past couple months, getting to talk to so many families, in particular middle and high school families, to understand what's working in the district for you, what can we be doing differently, what can we be doing better. And so how do we just continue to engage strategically through everything from committees, like the Finance Committee, the Facilities Committee, et cetera.
Okay, thank you very much. Joel, are you ready for this question?
I don't know.
Well, we'll see. What is your stance on testing in elementary grades, specifically the I-Ready tests?
Well, I have to be perfectly honest, that's not one of my expertise, is the I-Ready test. Don't know much about what, the Coddle students do on a day-to-day basis, not having any children currently in the Coddle programs. That's one thing that I must honestly say that I would have to look into a little further. But if it's what the district needs, it's absolutely what I will support.
Okay, thank you very much. Seth?
So I think as it relates to testing in elementary grades broadly, I think we have to really strike the right balance in terms of what are we assessing and how are we messaging that to students, right? I mean, state tests just happened for our elementary school students, and that can create a lot of stress for students. But as it relates to I-Ready, I think what it really comes down to is, how are we using the data? If we are using the data to ask ourselves, what do our students know, what have they learned, and where are their gaps, then that is valid data, and it's things that we should be doing, because without that input and steps along the way where we step up not just daily or a unit test, but really how are students progressing along the way, we need that data. But what we have to do and what we owe to our students is first helping them understand why we're doing it. It's not because it's so high stakes and it's super high pressure. This is an opportunity to show off everything that you've learned and say, what do I know and where do I need help? Because we all need help. And so I went to Dr. Keogh's presentation this fall where he talked about iReady and the continuum of assessments that we do, and I followed up in conversations with him this spring to really understand how are he and administrators using that data, not just to collect data, but to train teachers on what it means for what students do and don't know and how to best support
Okay,
them.
thank you very much. Louis?
Okay. So, can you repeat the question? Actually?
Sure.
Yeah.
What is your stance on testing in the elementary grades, specifically the iReady tests?
So, testing in the elementary grades are extremely important because we need to make sure that our students are being sent off to the upper grades, middle school, high school, with that specific strong foundation. What I know about iReady is that it does, it's administered, but the data is, I believe, looked at 2 to 3 times per year, or tested 2 to 3 times per year. And that data could be used to have students utilize the WIN program in a certain way where they can go and get extra help. And then through that, we can then, now that we have at least one reading interventionist coming to the elementary school, those children could be referred to the interventionist for that, that backing and foundation that's required. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Seth, this is going to be the last question. How do you see the school board evaluating the new superintendent?
So what I would say first and foremost is hiring, overseeing, and supporting the superintendent, regardless of whether it's a new superintendent or they've been here for 10 years, is the single most important job that the school board has. And so I think that we all have to be clear that is a critical part of the role, whether this person is coming in their first year, like Mr. Roberts will be next year, or not. I think that it is really important that school boards and superintendents build open lines of communication, that it is clear that we're not just here to oversee, we're also here to support. And we can't support unless you let us in and you help us have clear insight into what's going on, what's your read on what's going on across our schools and across our district. And then I think it's a partnership where we have to work together to make sure that, again, we're all clear on what our strategic priorities are as a district. We have annual plans that say, here's how we're going to live those things out. And we have progress monitoring along the way, where we check back and say, how are we doing against those priorities year over year? And what does it mean for things we need to do differently now, so we're not waiting until the end of the year to make shifts? So I think it has to be a collaborative and open relationship, and it has to be one built on trust and lots of communication.
Okay, thank you very much. Louis?
So the Board of Education plays a vital role in shaping the direction and success of our district. First, the board supports and holds the superintendent accountable for carrying out the district's mission and goals. Second, it oversees the budget to ensure we remain fiscally responsible and transparent with taxpayer dollars. Third, we set long-term goals through strategic planning and a clear district mission to ensure students thrive academically and personally. We also create and manage policy by forming committees, setting standards, and ensuring those policies are properly implemented across all schools. Going forward, and if I'm elected as a trustee, I'll push to effectively acclimate onboarding administrators by touring our unique village and its rich history. This will instill a sense of home and community with this new superintendent. Diversity is one of the strongest attributes of our village and district, and I strongly believe that it needs to be understood in order for our onboarding professional to be effective in the schools. The best part about this election is that there is a good opportunity to have 3 alumni trustees who can support these needs and advocate for our community students and administrators. In a small district like ours, it's imperative that we hold communication and transparency to the highest standard. It is impossible to govern effectively without it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Joel?
Sure, with the high
Joe.
rates of administrative turnover, it's a concern of our district. And as a prospective board member, I believe I believe we need to focus on strengthening relationships with our administrators as well as our incoming superintendent. It's essential that we create opportunities for our open communication with our administrators, and not just through a voice or an individual, but across the board. This will help foster a more collaborative, supportive environment. This coming year, we'll be providing support necessary to help our new administration, which would be our new superintendent, acclimate to the Tuckahoe community. I believe having 3 alumni on the board, all with deep historical knowledge of our district, could be a major asset in offering guidance to our new leaders. I also believe some of our administrators are overworked and underpaid. And beyond that, we need to make changes within the district. I believe restructuring the middle high school years ago was a misstep, and we need to reevaluate the structure of the administrative team. I ensure more support of our buildings and of our middle school. Our school should create an environment that attracts and retains top talent while ensuring that we meet the diverse needs of our students, parents, and teachers effectively. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So now it's time for our closing statements. It's 1 minute, okay, and we're going to go in the same order that we started. So, Louis, you've got the first closing statement.
I'm running for the Board of Education because I believe in Tuckahoe, its history, its people, and its future. As a parent of 2 children in the district, a lifelong resident, and a local business owner, I have deep and personal stake in the success of our schools. I've seen firsthand the incredible work our teachers and staff do every day, and I want to ensure that they have the support, resources, and leadership they need to thrive. My experience as an architect, mentor, and community volunteer has prepared me to contribute meaningfully from day one, whether it's helping prioritize capital improvements on the facilities committee or opening my office to high school interns. I've always believed in giving back to the place that shaped me. I'll bring transparency, accountability, and a strong sense of stewardship to the board. Let's work together to build a stronger, more vibrant district, one that prepares every student for success. I will embrace the challenge, I will lead with purpose, and we will all succeed with pride. Joel and I will be honored to earn your vote on May 20th. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Joel?
Okay, thank you all for being here tonight, and I thank the PTA and our school community and the League of Women Voters for hosting this forum. As a proud Tuckahoe alum and lifelong Tuckahoe resident, I carry this community in my heart. I've walked these halls as both a student and a staff member, giving me a unique firsthand understanding of what makes our district strong and where we can grow. For over 16 years, I've worked to support our students as a school safety professional, union president, senior class advisor, and small business owner. Always focused on student success, smart budgeting, and teamwork. I bring a practical student-centered approach to issues like safety, special education, early literacy, and career readiness, grounded in experience and deep knowledge of our district. With our new leadership ahead, we need voices with deep roots and clear vision. I believe Tuckahoe in our students and in our future. I'd be honored to serve. Please remember to May 20th to vote for myself and Lou. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Seth?
Thanks again to our moderator, John, to Joel and Lewis, to the PTA, and to everyone for tuning in tonight. I remain so excited about the direction our district is heading, and I'd be honored to serve on the school board to help advance that progress and keep the district moving forward. As I've said before, next year is an important one as the board helps build our next strategic plan and supports our new superintendent, and I'm eager to lead in both of those areas. As we move forward, again, I'd like to see us prioritize 3 things. First, stability in our district senior leadership. Second, continued focus on student retention, in particular, extending progress we've seen to our middle school in particular. And third, meeting the needs of all learners, including students in our special education programs. Serving on the board is a big responsibility. It means asking all parents to put their trust in someone to do what's best for their child and for all of our children, and asking all residents to trust that somebody has the judgment to make fiscally responsible decisions. In this role, I'd keep my focus where it matters most, on ensuring we meet the academic and social emotional needs of all students, engage all families, and make decisions in the best interests of all taxpayers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, everybody, that's your forum. it's not easy to be, put yourself out here and take all the questions and all the, arrows that'll come at you if you do get elected. So thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you.